Feels like Friday morning. Must mean another round with my friend Mike Lunney and Ask Mike.
It is. It is Friday morning, man. It's been another tough week for Mike Lunney.
Those naps came hard this week.
I had a birthday party Monday night for my middle grandchild, and that was about it.
So, drum roll. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mike Lunney's Marching Band Academy, lesson number 7.
Wow.
Like I did that?
I'm impressed.
I wish they paid you to do stuff like that. They just don't really pay for Nobody cares.
Voiceovers. We need the movie voiceover guy to introduce all our podcast. That famous guy that did all the disaster movies.
Yeah, or Don Pardo.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
he was an icon.
Well, it's hard to believe we're 7 lessons into this. We still have stuff to talk about?
We do, man. I'm such a band geek. I could go on this forever. I pity the person who rides with me to San Antonio for 3.5 hours.
Fool.
Mike, can we talk about politics? No. Marching backwards.
We will talk about stepping off.
Nick Saban. Articulation. Mike,
with a dash of John Wooden.
The only way they shut me up is canning me bourbon. I've been known. I've done some clinics for bourbon. I've done clinics for a bottle of bourbon before, so don't get any ideas out there. If I have to travel a long ways, bourbon doesn't work. So
focus to becoming clear.
Yeah. If it's within 20 miles, bourbon will take care of it.
All right, brother man. Teach me something.
All right, let's do it. These are going to be, this little session is the one before our big one. Our last one's on body movement technique.
Okay,
and that's going to be so controversial that it's going to just really upset a lot of people. And hopefully it'll help a lot of people. But our main goal is to upset a lot of people. But this one is,
that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. It gives me lots of good text. In fact, there's one time I mentioned something about on another podcast about Wichita Falls being Oklahoma South. Oh Lord, did I take grief on that one? I had band directors jumping out of the woodwork screaming at me, "We're not Oklahoma South."
Did you say, calm down? I grew up there.
Calm down. I spent half my life there. It's Oklahoma South. I'm sorry. Now, the bands aren't Oklahoma South. They're much better than most of the Oklahoma bands, but the geography of it is Oklahoma South. Okay, so
disclaimer to all of our Oklahoma friends. No, you guys are great.
Oh, yeah. You guys are great.
Actually, my sister went to Broken Arrow.
Oh, that's an incredible program.
They're pretty stout.
Yeah, they're pretty stout. I would take them to contest. I really
Except
would.
That one time when they had go-karts on the field, that one kind of threw me.
That was kind of weird.
All right.
These are points to use for rehearsal procedures. This is a little tiny section out of all this stuff, but it's in some ways it might be the most important because it allows you to rehearse in a manner and in a method that's understood by the students and the staff and you as the director. And everyone knows exactly what's going on every step of the way. And you actually, believe it or not, you actually make progress.
Right.
It's interesting. I don't know. Sometimes I've been in situations. Have you ever gotten in a rehearsal and you finish and you just go, crap, I don't think we got a damn thing done.
What did we do today?
I think we just wasted everyone's time. Hopefully we'll get one thing done tomorrow, but we've all been there. So this is a way that I've stolen from different directors and I've incorporated into what I did and kind of tweaked it here and there and what I wanted to do. But if you stick to it, man, it works. Okay. And here's the steps. This is the evangelistic. I'm going to make you an incredible band director.
If you'll just listen.
If you'll just listen for these, we'll see if they like them. And if they don't, they can download the Word file and delete it. Okay.
Just to have some kind of symbolic action.
Some kind of closure on it. Screw you, lady. I just deleted your whole file.
And I'm going to email you to tell you about it.
I'm going to email Mike Lunney's Marching Bible with nothing underneath it just to piss you off. And it won't piss me off. I'll get great humor out of that. I've got a weird sense of humor. Okay, so here's the first thing. We've got to teach them what standby is. When you say standby or they know to go to standby, what it is. Old-fashioned term, I call it parade rest. Nowadays, now we call it a second position. Okay. Parade rest. It's feet apart, shoulder width. And, it's parade rest. Now we can do it with feet together. However you want to do it, it's a certain position that they always know to go to. Horns are at rest. I have them do it in front of their body. So they just put one hand over the other, hold their bell fronts in front of them, flutes and clarinets, trombone in front of their body. It's basically a good old fashioned parade rest. Okay.
Right.
But importantly, their eyes are on me or whoever's giving instruction. It might be a drum major, might be a clarinet section leader, it might be myself, it might be a clinician, but eyes on whoever's giving instruction. They literally turn their head to the person giving instruction. Okay. That's standby. That's their go-to position. If they're not sure where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to do, they know to go to standby.
And I think the point of that position is when we call it parade rest, it's a comfortable way to stand. It's not putting stress or duress on any specific part of your body. You're relaxed.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. 100%. And then it gives them in a position where they always know that's where all instruction is going to be given. So that it's like Pavlov's dog.
You're saying the Pavlovian parade rest.
That's how you ring the bell. The ring the bell moment is standby. Standby, ba-ding, we're getting instruction. They understand that this is when we're going to learn something or we're going to try to get them to learn something. Okay. So it's standby. That also keeps them in a specific spot. It also keeps them a lot quieter.
And isn't that really the goal?
Quiet part out loud is get them to shut up and pay attention. Yeah.
But I'm gonna jump in here with something you've taught me before and ask you to tie the two together. You've told me before that and I can see it, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but sometimes we get locked in on woodwind and all the brass kids are going nuts, or sometimes we get locked in on brass and the percussion guys are all farting around. But I know that never happens just in the groups that I was in.
Yeah,
but
just my band, but no one else has that problem. Go ahead.
But is standby a way to prevent some of that, or do you incorporate standby after a while? You're like, hey, trumpets, why don't you all go over here and work on this? Because you've talked about that before. If you have to focus on a group, you got to find something else for the other kids to do.
Yes. And so to tie the two together, when you call the group to standby, if you know that it's going to be an extensive amount of time that you're going to work with a certain group, then you can give that instruction because they're at standby, aren't they? The right instruction. You go, okay, I need all the brass players to go over here and work on body movement 4 in the show. And off they run. Percussion, go to the back sideline and work on your first percussion feature in the opener. And they'll say, okay, flutes and clarinets, let's work on this right now. And then they're in standby. And then you call them, then your vocalization is only concerned with the ones you're actually working with. Now, guess what? Now your leaders have set whoever they're working with. I know it sounds convoluted, but it works. They call their little tiny group to stand by, and they call them to set, and they do the call and response, and they ask all to raise hands, and then blah, blah, blah. They do the same fundamental techniques you're doing as a director, except you're just working with your group and they're working with theirs. If you know it's going to be a real short instruction, you just keep them all together.
Right.
And you give them what the instruction is going to be.
But I just wanted to make sure that I could tie those together. Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you options to do it. Okay. So you get them to stand by, you give them the instructions on what you want to do. There's multiple ways to do the instructions. One way, you can simply just give it to them and you hope they respond. Or you can give them the instructions, and then a certain drum major who you have a different one each day. If you have multiple drum majors, they repeat your instructions word for word, so they hear it twice. Then your section leader on the field repeats the instruction, so they hear it 3 times. Then the whole band repeats the instruction, so they hear it 4 times. So even your most inattentive student on the field at least had a chance to hear it 4 times. So it can be, okay, we're at standby at set 14. We're going to go to set 15 and work on 16. 16 counts. Drum major goes, we're at set 14. Go to set 15. We'll go to set 16. We got 16 counts. Blah, blah, blah. It goes ching, 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 ching.
Right.
Through the whole process. Notice it gets bigger as it goes. So even if they don't understand it, at least they've heard it 4 times. And you'll think it wastes time, but it doesn't.
That's a very important psychological thing too, though. As a person who did marketing and advertisement and worked in media for a long time, people don't hear it until you repeat it. I mean, commercials, the ones that aggravate you the most, you know what they say.
Yeah, where's the beef?
Right, you've heard it so many times.
Heard it so many times, it just makes you mad when it comes on, but you know it verbatim.
But you know it.
You
Right.
know it. So it did work, didn't it?
Because there's so many distractions and so many things that, and I say this, they bring so much to rehearsal that we all do.
Yeah.
A test next period. Forgot to do something last night. I'm probably going to get in trouble for that. Had a flat tire on the way. Everybody's got stuff that they're dealing with that have nothing to do with what you do that makes them not listen.
Right. And I try to go by the basis, Derek, that everyone on the field is having a tougher time today than me.
That's great. I think that's awesome.
I just try to pretend. Maybe they're not, maybe they are, but I try to pretend like I've got the most easygoing life of anyone on this field. I've got to pretend like everyone out here, I hate to be so blunt, but their parents are getting divorced. Their car just broke down. They just flunked an algebra exam. They're
Right.
worried about what college they're going to. Their girlfriend just broke up with them. I just go the aspect that everyone on this field, staff, drum majors, everyone's having a so much tougher time than me. And so I've got to preface everything in a way that I can reach to them with
Right.
all the stuff they're going through.
I think that's great. But again, trying to emphasize the fact that however many people can repeat those instructions, how many different times, they're finally going, okay, I got it. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you hear it the second or third time, you went, oh wow, they're actually talking to me.
Yeah. Because how many of us as directors have wasted short little chunks of runs when you're running portions of drill and you go, well, that was a waste.
Yep.
Because half the band didn't even know what we were doing. So you're going to waste time one way or another. So you might as well waste time giving instruction than waste time doing bad runs.
And this has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but you made me think of it. It's so much easier just to go back to a number that everybody knows and start there instead of saying, let's start third measure of section A. Just start at A.
Boy, have I ever made that mistake 1,000 times. Everyone go back to this point and you realize this ain't going to work. Everybody goes to the big triangle in the opener.
Right.
The big triangle in the opener.
I know that one.
So you end up running 3 extra sets, but at least everyone knows where they're at,
Right.
But a good
All
point.
right.
Good point.
Enough hijacking.
Yeah. But then the next point, after you do standby and you teach them what standby is, and once you teach this to them, it takes a while to do it. And I've had to sit as a clinician and work this with a group where I don't have my microphone on. And I'm just telling the director, stop. You're not in the right order.
Right.
Stop. Say standby. Say set.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go to set. Say standby again. And they'll go, okay, go ahead and go. No, stop. Tell them standby. And what I'm doing is trying to teach the director to teach in this methodology, which is not the only way to do it, but I promise you it works. Okay, so the next one is set. Horns are at carry position in front of you. You say set, or you give the instruction again, if you want to, as a starting rehearsal number. I like to do that. It's always a starting rehearsal number or set. I'll say set, measure 46. Now they don't they've already heard all the instructions, right? But now they've gotten a reaffirmation that we're starting at measure 46. Does it help them? I don't know. It makes me feel better.
Okay? I don't know.
I don't know. It makes me feel better. I feel like I'm in control. I'm telling kids what to do. Okay. And then you vocalize the horns up just like you always do your beginning and keep horns and carry. The band vocalizes 5 and 6 for horns up, blah, 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 blah. You do your initial startup the way you always do it. Okay. Right. Now, before they do it, there's also, you can do a call and response. You can ask, got it? Their response is always yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. Now, sometimes they'll just go through the motions and say it, I'm sure. But at least it tells them that it's about to hit the fan. We're moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they know that once they hear got it, yes, sir, or got it, yes, ma'am, whoever's instructing them, they understand that we're about to do it. Another way to confirm things, everyone raise your hand if you understand what I'm talking about.
Wiggle your horn.
Yeah, or wiggle your horn at me, because they will you can tell that they either don't understand it or some are not listening. So either way, you've got to repeat it if there's a lot. If I get 90 to 95% acceptance to that, I hate to admit it, but I try to push forward. Because if you wait for every kid, you're going to have some numbnut on the back sideline that's going to be slowing down your rehearsal. So sometimes you got to push through it. So 90, 95% and drill, you'll be very fortunate to get. Okay. Now here's a really important part, Derek, while learning drill. At the end point of whatever it is, if it's a +1 to the next set, if you're stopping at a -1, which would be pretty weird, but whatever your final moment is, a body movement, they freeze. They do not relax. They freeze. I'm going to say it again. They freeze. Okay. And then what they do is they check. They're frozen. When they check, the horn is still up. They can only move their head. And they can only use the people around them in their mind to make mental adjustments. They cannot move their feet yet. This is extremely important, guys. So they freeze. You have to tell them at first, freeze. Some kid moves and drops their horn, sets it down, go back and redo it again. We didn't all freeze. You do it again until they freeze. Then you say check. They can move their head back and forth. They only use the bodies around them. They cannot look at the field. Okay. And then finally, after they finally do all that, you say the magic word, adjust. Now they move to the set point and they evaluate their mistake. Did I take too small a step, too big a step? Did I get here too early, too late? Am I in the wrong place? They can adjust. Now, here's the point of it, Derek. Everyone's got to live in their wrongness for a certain amount of time. And I tell them that my job is to make you live in your wrongness. So you get to a certain spot and then you freeze, then you look around, and most kids, if they know what they're doing, they look around and go, crap, I'm in the wrong spot. So what do they do immediately if you don't do this?
Try to adjust. Yes,
they wiggle over. So guess what they do Friday night?
They wiggle around.
They wiggle around and move to and we get mad at them. Do not move at attention. What a bunch of crap. They're doing exactly what you taught them to do in rehearsal. Yep. I'm going to quiet part out loud, guys and gals. You're teaching them to do it incorrectly. Unless you
have allowed this all week.
All week, it's been okay to wiggle over to the right spot, and then you get mad at them for Friday night or a contest because some judge mentioned it. So they've got to freeze, be in their position to where in their mind, they've got to immediately become a band director. They've got to evaluate. If I'm in the right spot at the right time, they can evaluate and go, damn, I'm good. That's okay. They can look around and go, hey, they can think, everybody check me out. I'm actually absolutely correct. If they're not in the right spot, they can evaluate and go, do I take a deeper arc, a more shallow arc, bigger steps, smaller steps? Did my horn come up at the right time? Did I do the body move at the right time? They can evaluate because we're all frozen. Even the staff is frozen. We're all frozen. And then finally we'll go, check. And guess what? Half of them will drop their horns at first. You go, no. Check is only your head. Your horn still stays in whatever position you finished in at a +1 going to the next set. Now you can move your head, but do not look at the field. This is hard discipline. This is grit. Remember our grit, our discipline, undisciplined, Nick Saban, grit, all that cool stuff. This is where it comes into play, my friends. So they have to look around, but they don't move their feet yet. And then you let them live in their wrongness, and they've evaluated what to do. And there's a magical moment happens when you teach them this, because then you go, adjust. And you'll see the perfect form focus on the field. It's the coolest moment as a band director. You see it just like high definition go. And there might be a few, and then you might have to go, hey, Brenna, drum major, check out John. Like, John, you're in the wrong place. Run over there, move John back. So we do have to make some adjustments, but it's so cool when you do it. So if you will force them to do this every single time you teach a new drill set, or as you clean drill, you will be shocked that you will think at first you'll be wasting time. But you will be shocked at how much time you will save because you're teaching kids good habits. You're teaching them, big picture. You're teaching them to evaluate their own mistake instead of waiting for if you're lucky enough to have a marching tech from a local university to blathermouth at them about the 50 things they did wrong. They're sitting there in their total silence going, I'm in the wrong place.
Right.
How do I fix this? So I know that sounds so simplistic, but trust me, my friends out there, do it.
So my son's gymnastic coach, same, not the same. My son said this to me several times, typically about himself, but he would explain, and listen, you can hurt yourself in the gym.
Yeah.
But if they would mess something up after they talked about, his response was typically very calmly, so what did we learn?
Yeah.
Because if we don't learn how to fix that mistake, or if we don't learn what caused that mistake, like how did I wind up this far out of the form?
Yeah.
You can't fix it if you can't figure out what you did.
And I tell you what, Derek, in a lot of our drill that we see on the field nowadays, you can hurt yourself on the marching field.
I agree.
Now you can destroy an embouchure. You can hurt a horn, you can hurt a human body. And I'm not saying that we're like playing football out there, but if you're not concentrating on what you're doing correct or incorrect, you can cause some damage out of there.
Yeah, if you've ever been close to the trombone squad, you know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's lots of damage can happen. And then another thing that a lot of directors they're not sure what to do with it, but plus or minus one. And it seems like that's really hard to teach, but trust me on this, guys. If you will go ahead and just start working with it, they'll figure it out on their own. So a minus one is the step before you got into the drill point that you're moving from.
Moving from.
From, yes. Because the only time you want your heels and toes together really at a full standby is when you're giving instruction or it's a place in the drill where you don't move. Because otherwise, guess what you're teaching them? You're teaching them to stop their feet every 16 counts.
Correct.
So to get by that, we say, okay, we're in drill set 4. Put your left foot at minus one. And you can say, I'm going to call it minus one, but just put your left foot where it's at before you step into that drill set that we learned. And they'll think about it a second and they'll do it wrong and right. And they'll sort of figure it out. After a while, they'll get pretty good at it. They really will. And then so it's a minus one. So we're going to start at minus one. So the metal click off, horns will come up at a set. So this time we'll say set at minus one. So set at minus one is everything's set, but we're going to pull our left foot to minus one. And then they click, 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 horns up, push and one, and our left foot swings all the way through the set point to count one of the new drill move. And then at the end of the new drill move, if we know the next set, we take one more step. We don't halt with our feet together. We don't platform close. We take one more drill step. Now, if we don't know the next set, we just take one more step forward. Just to reiterate the fact that our feet are not stopping here.
Right.
Okay. And I know that sounds really simplistic because it is. And it sounds really Pavlovian because it is. And it sounds very psychological because it is. And it sounds very boring because it might be. But I find it the most efficient way to learn drill ever put together.
So my question is, with a plus one, you can still see what the set should have been.
Yes, because their right heel should still be in position. And we try to put our right heel, this is my belief. Now, there's different ways of doing this, my friend.
Sure.
But I like my right heel to be on the drill point. For that
but
fact.
when you're telling them freeze and check, they can still freeze and check. They just have the plus one step out.
Correct. Now, it might be a place where we stop and we just waylay the stands and everybody stops at attention and we do a body move. In that case, we do platform close. But most of our drill moves go one drill move into another, don't they?
Right.
And then I hate to kind of put you on the quiet part out loud thing for my director friends. How many of you have caught yourself teaching like 4 sets of drill and then critiquing the band because why are you stopping every 16 counts? We go to the next set. Because you've taught them to stop at every goddamn drill set.
Yeah.
You've spent a whole hour teaching them to stop, and then you get mad at them for not stopping. And so how about we do a plus one, minus one? And if you really want to get OCD, I've seen bands do plus two, minus two. I'm not smart enough to figure that out.
Right.
But some bands do it, and it's very effective. But you really get that fluidity into the drill because I will say this as a definition. The drill is not the points on the drill sheet or the UDB app. The drill is the motion between the points on the UDB app.
Getting to those points.
Yeah, getting to is the drill. So we don't want to hyper focus on we got there no matter what. The end justifies the means. And we're just going to get there no matter what happens. If we have to crawl, roll, whatever, we're going to get to that set point. No.
But I also think that we live in a world, or we live in a marching world where the set is kind of an instantaneous thing. It doesn't, we used to march to them and sit there for a minute and go, see what we did?
Yes.
Before we took the next set. But anymore, it's like it hits and it's gone.
Oh yeah, it's very transformational. In the old days, I remember especially in junior high and in high school, we'd march 16 counts and stand 16 and march 16 counts and stand 16. So everything was a close because that's just how we did drill, but that no longer exists for the most part. So you got to make your new system work quite well.
Right. And not teach them to stop.
Yeah.
To make your point.
And I know we kind of went through all that and kind of delineated them, but I just want to go through pretend like I'm working a band and they've just moved there. They were at minus one. We started them with the Met and they moved and just kind of let me go through this process. I'll say, stand by. Minus one, stand by. We're going to move 16 counts to go to set 5. Drum major, 16 counts. Count set
Right.
5. Section leaders, 16 foot. They go through that process. Then we go set. So they put their horn in proper carry position, but still at a -1, because when you're called to a -1, you never break until you finish. And then I call them response. I say, got it? And they all go, yes, sir. And I say, did everybody get it? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Then I say, okay, start the Met. And usually I don't have to say that. The kid running the Met, I call him the Met jock, the Met jockey. The Met jockey knows by the time I get to a certain point, they know to start the Met. And they start the Met. The band marches, go to a +1 at the end. And then I go, freeze. Then I wait this long.
Live in your wrongness.
No. It has to be silent. I wait this long. No one talks. And I go, check. They all move their heads. And I wait this long. I feel like I'm wasting time, but I'm gaining time. Then I go, adjust. And they adjust, and it goes into hyperfocus. And then I go back to the previous set, stand by, -1. It keeps from talking. But the statement you said is correct, because that time that I freeze and no one talks, that's when inside their head, they better be analyzing, because we're about to go back and do it again. They do it wrong 5 times in a row on something really stupid, like they just took too small a step for 16 counts, and 4 steps short every time. That's when I call them out. I say, are you not thinking when I say check? Are you not thinking when I say freeze? Because anyone should be able to tell they should be able to take a bigger step when they end up 4 steps short, 4 times in a row.
Over and over. Yeah.
Over and over. And so you kind of sort of, in a gentle way, you call them out, and then the other ones will start to call them out. So what's wrong with you, man? Everyone's getting to the set point, but you, come on, man. But you're right. They have to live in their wrongness. And that's a great quote. I said, you must live in your wrongness in order to make a proper correction.
So can I ask a couple questions now?
No. Yes.
Okay. What's wrong with you? I've said this 5 times.
Derek, stand by. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I get in my clinic mode.
There's some old phraseology back when we did a lot of straight lines, cover down, or keep your intervals, adjust your intervals as you go.
Yes.
Do we still teach them to do that as they're moving through these points? Because if you're doing it as you go, it should save you being out of, not having to adjust too much. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. That is part of our instruction, because we might say, okay, this form's going to morph from an arc into a block form. By count 8, we should be in files. So they know that in files, we're going to cover down in files. We need to, on this form, you need to maintain your distance. Your interval will collapse. Makes sense? So we're giving them that instruction. Now, will it be fixed the first time? No, but if they hear it 15 times, they'll start to figure out the distance is front to back, intervals side to side, cover downs front to back. They'll start to figure that out. And all of a sudden, by the time you get to like week 7 in your marching season and you're starting to go to festivals and things, instead of 100 band students, you've got about 60 band directors out there.
Right.
That happen to be marching in the band today. And they could sit on the podium and do some days a much better job than I could, because they can analyze everything that's going on, and they can tell kids what they need to do, so you've got to keep through that process. Now, if you want to do a different process, it's fine. But I tell you what, this irritates me more than anything to go do clinics and see no process.
Right.
We're just going to stand around and play, for lack of a better term, we're just going to play grab ass for about 30 seconds. And then kids are going to move around and talk about Sonic. And then we're going to try to get their attention. And then we're going to tell them to go to a set, but no one's listening. So we have to tell them 15 times, and they'll go to that position. And we'll move to this next set, but no one knows what set we started on. So the next set doesn't make sense either. So I think you get my point by rambling on purpose here, that the whole rehearsal is just one big ramble. And I'm like, we are just wasting everyone's time. And I wish I was at home right now, because this is wasting my time, and you could pay me $1,000 an hour and I still don't want to see this crappy rehearsal.
And I think it's so obvious, and everybody thinks that they're being slick by just trying to, that nobody's going to notice. I would rather, if I ask you, what is your procedure, as opposed to, do you have a procedure?
Yeah, that's an important question sometimes. Y'all have a procedure? Oh, we're just kind of laid back around here. We just kind of take it
Are
easy.
you now?
Yeah. We call those fourth divisions. Let's go ahead. Go and do your rehearsal. Give me my check, and I'll see you later.
That's
Because you're
funny.
not going to accomplish. You're not going to accomplish a damn thing in this rehearsal because you
But
have no procedure.
the fact that you don't even have to ask that.
No, it's obvious.
All you have to do is listen to the communication or lack thereof.
Yeah.
If you're just saying, go back to the last set, let's try this again, and you never do the standby, the set, the -1, it's obvious there, even if it's not the same terminology.
Right. It's
If you're
obvious
just saying, run it again.
yeah. And it's obvious to a marching judge later on when they're sitting there going, your arrival and departure from set is not consistent throughout the ensemble. They don't use a -1 + 1.
Right.
You know, it is a sad process to watch bands just waste their time because being laid back is not being lazy. You can still have fun in rehearsal and get things done. You don't have to be a taskmaster. You just have a procedure. There is, and I think Derek, we're old guys. We're the old farts of the room. There's comfort in procedure.
Right.
I don't have to worry about what's happening next.
And
I
let
know
me
when
say,
I get up in the morning, I do everything in the exact same procedure. I won't go through the whole procedure because it will bore you intensely, but there's comfort in scheduling and procedure that nothing else can replicate.
and I'm going to tell you something because I don't clinic bands. I don't have to worry about it. But I feel so terrible for those young people that are out there in an evaluation scenario or even on Friday night are doing the best they can,
Hmm.
but they did not have good instruction.
Right.
There was no consistent procedure. They have no confidence, but they're trying so hard to do the best they can.
Yeah. In almost every case, too, those young directors, they were in a good college marching band that had great procedure, but they learned the music and drill, but they never learned the procedure, how to teach it.
Right. They didn't pay attention to how it was happening.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's kind of like when I go see the eye doctor, he does all this little flip, click, 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 whatever's. And I have no idea what he's doing, but I leave with good glasses.
Right.
But I couldn't tell you how an optometrist would do that.
Right.
I don't know. He just says one or two, two or three, three or one.
Better, worse.
Yeah, and I had no
Better,
idea.
worse.
He's doing dials with stigmatism and focal
Right.
points and all kinds of cool stuff. And I think sometimes young band directors go through that as college students. They need to know more about what the guy with the machine's doing. And sometimes my college band directors out there, I know you're busy trying to get 5 shows on the field, but maybe in secondary methods, marching methods, talk about procedure more than just technique of marching.
I think that's fabulous. Good
Yeah.
call. All right.
So some just I don't know if it's random things, but things to kind of follow up with that. One is the hover stretch. Bring those
Hey,
heels up.
by the way, that doesn't mean I don't love you all. It just means you frustrate me. If you would just do some simple things like Mike is sharing. So, all right,
Yeah.
hover.
Yeah. No, we won't even go there yet. I want to say one more thing about that. And this is something my dad taught me. Maybe it's too blunt, but the difference between stupidity and ignorance.
Right.
It's sometimes a person is stupid and cannot learn.
They
That's a fact.
refuse to learn.
That's a fact of life. They either don't want to learn or they don't have the mental capability to learn the procedure. And that's just stupidity. And you're never going to accomplish that. But sometimes a young band director or myself, and a lot of times, is just ignorant. I've just never been told.
Well, welcome to my chair on the Ask Mike podcast.
Yeah. So ignorance is a dangerous thing. I've gotten into this trying to take better care of myself, and I've lost 39 pounds so far.
Wow.
And I work with my trainer and I go work out at Planet Fitness and whatever. But yeah, it's made me realize the difference between teaching and learning.
Right.
Because now I'm at the other end. I'm the kid trying to learn how to mark time. I'm the kid. I'll do a certain thing on the circuit machine. I'll go, God, that was bad. I said, you're accomplishing nothing. I said,
Right.
why? I said, well, because your elbows are supposed to be in. You got your elbows out beside your body. Now you're working the wrong muscle group. I'm like, well, crap. Now I feel like that freshman and I can sympathize. Right. So there's ignorance and stupidity. So you've got to figure out real quick and this sounds so blunt, but it's the truth. Which one of your kids are content with being stupid and which ones are just ignorant right now?
Right.
And you've got to
And
work
from the
with both sets. And sometimes
let's
stupidity is not ignorant, not being unable to learn. It's just laziness.
right. But from the instructor side of it, are you talking or teaching?
Yeah.
And from the student side of it, are you listening or learning
Yeah.
or ignoring?
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to get wound up on that, but I do think it's important. Sometimes we are so selfish in our thought process, and I don't think that we mean to be. We're worried about what we've accomplished with this group as opposed to what has this group accomplished.
Yeah.
And these guys got to live with that.
Yeah.
And some of us don't forget.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't. That's probably a little bit too dramatic. But for the sake of your kids, get a procedure, teach well, help them understand the process. Don't just. I guess there's some things that you know how many times you got to stick your finger in a light socket before you figure out it hurts.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll get out of your way. Sorry, just wanted
Yeah.
to
Oh, no, we're good. But
the
yeah,
little guys.
just little things to go through. One is the hover stretch. I tell them, so pretend like there's a bungee cord or a cord attached to the top of your head that goes to a big giant pulley in the sky. And all those lines from all your heads go to my hands. And I can pull down on those cords and it makes you stretch your body.
Right.
And you'll see the band stand taller. It's just a little band hack to throw in there. Parallel foot swing exercise. Push down with one platform and let the other foot pendulum swing. Kind of hard to balance sometimes. If they're having a hard time balance, have them hold with their opposite hand of the foot swinging their earlobe on that side of their head, and it'll help them balance. It just will.
But you know, the truth of that is we do that before running. We do that before you should do it
Yeah.
before you do any kind of walking or running because that loosens up all the hip flexors and it's a great warm up tool.
Yeah. And it allows independence between the feet, which needs to happen in today's marching. And something band directors sometimes ask me because believe it or not, there's teachers out there just start teaching whatever that comes next to their mind. But it's the teaching sequence that I use for each fundamental. And it's on the download, so feel free to do that. But I'm going to go through it pretty quick because it'd be ridiculous to do it slow enough where they could write it down. So please download if you want it. I start with the position of attention, horns at carry, side carry, like, for flutter step, parade rest, and at ease. Then I do the process of starting with a metronome, vocalizing, horns up, pushing 1. 3, use of the word set. Number 4, step off. Number 5, forward 8, and halt. Pushing 1 for the new step off. Everyone must count. It's like single issues of 8 counts. Backwards 8 and halt. Same thing. 8 and 8 drills. 8 forward, halt 8, 8 forward, halt 8, whatever combination you want to add variations. Slides, rule of the opposites. When I slide to the left, my right shoulder pulls back. When I slide to the right, my left shoulder pulls back. Box drills, start with the left box. That's just how I do it. I don't know. Then do the right box drill because left box is forward to the left, backwards to the right. Right box drill is forward to the right, hence the name, backwards to the left. Okay. And then we run them together where it's like box drill figure eights. Okay. Hip shifts, concentrate on placing one platform at a 45-degree angle to execute. That's a whole nother thing, just prepping with foot placement. That's my next. This is a lot of stuff, but I put it on one little 3x5 note card to keep me honest throughout the whole. This is like 2 weeks long. Okay.
Right.
Number 12, graduated step size, do variations. Number 13, I call it the W drill because I was at Wiley for a long time. Instead of just doing 8 and 8s front and back to yard lines, we do it at like a 45-degree angle and we draw W's on the field. We go forward 8, backwards 8, and with different angles. We do all kinds of variations. Again, we discuss the cone. Remember the cone for figuring out, do we follow through with our left heel or do we shift direction with our right heel or our right platform? Okay.
Right.
Then I teach box horns to the box versus box level. I prefer box level at 45 degrees. It has nothing to do with where the box is because you will confuse the heck out of your kids. Up to the box. Then you go to, let's say you're fortunate enough to go to San Antonio to the Alamo Dome. Their press box is pretty low.
Right.
So all of a sudden they're pointing at the press box. They're only like 5 degrees higher than what we call level.
Right.
And you don't have the visual impact of it. So I always just say horns are like 30% above level when they are quote level, 45 degrees up for horns to the box. Box level is square with the front sideline. Listen to this one. To the box is still 45 degrees, but angled in towards the center of the press box.
Right. Find a center point.
Find the center point, okay? And it might be higher or lower than the actual press box, but it's 45 degrees to whatever line would draw through the center up to the jet plane above it, okay? And then I finally address body movement, which is on our next session.
Cool.
So they can go through those. Some overall marching concepts. I had my kids memorize these because it helped them. These are like just general rules, instructions. Always face front unless otherwise instructed.
Okay.
March straight to a new set with upper body still facing front unless otherwise instructed. Stay halfway between two people, or if there's someone absent, between where their hole was and the empty spot in the. Another one that really irritates my guard. Guard always defers and adjusts to winds and drill. And the guard hated that, but someone has to yield right away. And it's easier for a highly intelligent guard student that's involved in body movement.
And doesn't have an instrument stuck to their mouth?
Yeah, I mean, they've got plenty to deal with, but they can adjust a lot quicker than a freshman trumpet player because your guard people are usually, they work a lot. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. They work a lot harder than your average band student.
Right.
So it's easier for them to yield to the winds and drill and yield to usually I don't have to yield to percussion. Usually guard hates percussion.
What's funny is I read that with you. I was like, the woodwind, they have to adjust to the woodwinds in the drill. I was thinking of the weather wind.
Oh, the wind. Yeah.
Guard must adjust to the winds.
That could be another rule. They do have to adjust. They adjust their routine according to how windy it is in West Texas. Okay. The further backfield you are, the more you should rely on your your eyes over ears for timing. We went through that whole podcast on timing.
Still one of my favorite.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Lob those tennis balls.
Lob the tennis balls, man. Guide to the front of the form. The people in front of you can't see you because they do not have eyes in the back of their head, but you can see them. One real important drill move I see like the people at the back of a set form their files, and then 4 counts later, the people at the front of the files get to their set point because the drill's been written that way. How stupid can that be? Because they can't adjust, and the people have already stopped in the back. I don't know how many times I've critiqued drill and said, okay, drill 35 is not going to ever work. You've got to have the front people get there first or at least at the same time so they can watch as they adjust, okay? Listen, watch, adjust. Listen, watch, adjust. Listen, watch, adjust, repeat forever.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah. And these above guidelines once drill is learned, your director may make adjustments as part of the cleaning process. So those little rules are 99% of the time they work. Random items, just vocabulary.
Okay.
The deck is the field surface you're marching on. That's easier than trying to remember the grass, the turf.
March below the hard deck.
The deck, just like a Navy character or aircraft carrier. It's the deck. It's the field surface. I like the terminology stay in the toaster when you're doing plies or squats. It means your back.
What does that mean?
Your back stays straight. When you put your toast or a bagel in the toaster, it goes straight in. When it pops up, it goes straight up. It doesn't go at a 45-degree angle. Right. When they do their plies or squats, they're going to tend to lean forward and move their body at a 45-degree angle as their butt descends. So I always just say, stay in the toaster. And after explaining it, they know what that means. They know stay in the toaster means keep your back straight, keep your shoulders above your butt, as you do it. Okay. Just a funny one. When they're like doing planks or something really hard, I'll say, feels good. And they'll say, so good. It's just more of a morale thing.
Sure.
I'll say, hey, the flutes did great. Give them a round of applause. A round of applause is 1 clap. Give them 2 rounds of applause. It just kind of controls the situation, but it relays affirmation to things done well. So if you say, give them a round of applause, then it's like, and you got the idiot kid that tries to clap longer than everyone else.
Right.
I hate to say that, but every band's got them. Usually,
Stupid, ignorant.
yeah, usually he claps longer, and usually he's a baritone player. Sorry, because he couldn't make it on trumpet.
Right.
Sorry, euphoniums. Sorry, euphoniums. Sorry, I'm going to get text on that one. Sorry, James Cross. I apologize to you personally in advance because he hates it when I make fun of baritones because he be one because they're euphoniums. Okay, so that's the round of applause to kind of control it.
But it also makes them listen to see how many rounds you are asking for.
Yeah, and more importantly, it still gives affirmation to the group that did
Right.
well. Man, trombones, what a great job on that low brass feature. 2 rounds of applause, and the whole band goes. And it actually, to me, it works perfect. A lot of these particularly I stole from Austin Snow. He's at Lamar North. I think he was maybe at Anna for a while. Wonderful. He just to tell you his personality, and Austin Snow, I hope I'm allowed to say this. He is a Marine because there's no such thing as a past Marine, and both his parents are Marines.
Okay.
So if that tells you his personality.
Sure.
And he plays oboe.
Wow, I did not know that. He was in West Texas for a while, but I didn't know he was. Yeah.
Yeah, his nickname was it Brownfield? Was he?
Well, I remember him from Denver City.
Yeah, he was Blanco Diablo, the White Devil. The kid's called Blanco Diablo. That was his nickname.
And he probably loved it.
Yeah, he had hellacious bands though, but yeah, he's the one who told me that, so I think it's okay to repeat it because he just grinned. I was Blanco Diablo. Feet forward, push out foot from the heel. We've already gone through all that. It's like the person kicking your foot. We've discussed that. This next one is fairly new. Put feet in boat position. And when you're on the half and half drill with your left heel in front of your right foot, then your left heel is down, your right platform is down. So your left toe is up and your right heel is up. So think of like a canoe. You know how the ends of the canoe lift up? So I call that boat position. So after explaining that to the kids, they know, so no, our feet, because how kids will do, they'll put their toes on the ground or their heel will still be on the ground. Feet must be in boat position with body weight half and half. This next one, definitely a stolen one from Mr. Snow, school circle. When I want to talk to the kids up close, I say, school circle. And they all run to get close to where I am, but then I face one direction. I set my arms out beside my body, and no one's allowed to go past my arms. They all have to be in front of my arms. That's called the school circle. So they all and it's not really a circle. They just all gather in front of me. So no one's behind me. No one's really far to the side. The 390s, we talked about earlier, upper body to the arm is 90 degrees with the line of the body. Elbow, meaning the upper arm to the lower arm, is a 90-degree angle. Where the hands meet or touch the bell front in front of us is at 90 degrees. Of course, that's different for flute, saxophone.
Sure.
This also determines the horn bell front position in carry, because then they just rotate their wrist. Does it make sense?
It does, yeah.
Yes, they just go like turning the doorknob. Okay, that's another one I use. Brass, don't move your arms when your horns come up. Just turn the doorknob. So they just turn the wrist. Okay, we don't turn our arm to turn a doorknob. Okay, the 3 zones: learn, teach, vocabulary. This is for them to focus on. Zone 1 is the hips to the feet in marching. Zone 2 is hips to the shoulder. Zone 3 is shoulders on up. So you tell them, we got to work on zone 3 today. They should know that means head position, shoulders, arm position. We're going to work on zone 1 today. That's hips, feet, step-offs, closures. And it's all in the alignment of the hips. Don't let them lean forward. Just like a good salsa dancer, it's all in the hips. Okay. All marching. Yeah, no, it's meant to be funny. I'm glad you laughed, because if you hadn't laughed, it'd have been like, well, that fell dead. But it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. So when you're yeah, it's all in the hips. Bell fronts, larger bell fronts will tend to cantilever with their lower body by pushing the hips away from their shoulders, pushing their pelvis forward to make up for the weight of the horn. They can't do that. They got to curl their pelvis under the spine, and then their arm and back muscles carry the horn, not their body. They have to stand exactly right. Okay, and just to reiterate it, just re-say it. The freeze, check, adjust, find your dot, go to standby when in the correct place. Go back and look over that. If you really go by that procedure, you'll learn drill quicker. You'll keep students engaged and feel better. Okay. And I just want to say this to all the directors, and I've said it earlier. If you really feel like you don't have time to address all these numerous fundamentals I went through, then make the drill and music easier.
Right.
Because exciting shows are not shows that are done very dirty and just nothing looks clean and you have the greatest music book in the world. That's called a bad band.
Right.
Okay. A band with good fundamentals, whatever it is, if it's I mean, my very first show I ever did, I called it children's songs. And I took the essential elements is now like like a yellow black cover. It used to be purple back in the
Right.
day. So I took the purple book and I did the first 4 children's songs in the purple book. And I wrote them out with harmony and a bass line and wrote a percussion part. And I had the band march, I don't know, 11 sets. And my old high school band director, David Mooney, he was my director for 2 years. He was one of the judges, and he told me, Mike, at the end, he goes, "That's the boringest show I've ever seen in my life. But here's your first division.
Right. Do
Make it to where the kids can succeed."
do what you can for contest.
Yeah. Um, it takes a high level of thinking to do fundamentals correct. It doesn't take a high level of thinking to do a trumpet double tongue feature.
Right.
It just takes repetition. If you have time to repeat, you can teach your trumpets how to double tongue.
Yeah.
If you don't have time to repeat, they'll never learn it. It's just, you don't have to do it. I'm just using that as an example.
I get it. And I'm going to throw this out there too. There's an old Roger Miller song where the hook of it says, "It's my belief that pride is the chief cause in the decline."
Yeah.
I think we get in our own way being proud and wanting to impress our peers and or even ourselves, not understanding that every journey starts somewhere. You have to figure out where you are in the journey, plan accordingly, with the goal being getting better. So maybe next year you'll be up to some of that other stuff you wanted to do, or maybe be honest enough to know that that's a 3-year job you're looking at to get. Again, I'm back to your students. It's not fair to them for them to poorly execute your ego.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great quote. I'm going to use that on band directors, not in front of a band. It's not your band's job to execute your poorly evolved ego.
Well, and I hope that does not offend you. Nah, I don't care.
No, we wanted to. My best learning has come through being offended, and I don't mean to be offensive to anyone, but sometimes the truth is offensive.
Right. It's not personal.
Yeah.
But check your ego.
Yeah.
And are you doing this for you or them?
And if your band kids are having to spend so much time dealing with details of fundamentals, that their brain power is being used to talk about step off, close, slide, move, stop, body movement, then we call that fail.
Right.
That has to be muscle memory.
Right.
After a certain point, that has to be muscle memory. Then they can go to, remember old box 5, they're performers.
Right.
They're performing the music and the body motion, the fluidity of the drill. They're not executing fundamentals, analyzing each step. They're just doing it because they've done it for 3 months now.
So maybe our job is to find a way to communicate fundamentals that's not drudgery. We got to keep doing it. Sometimes, listen, I've heard you say it yourself. We're going to do this till we get it right.
Yeah. Sometimes it is a slog. You just, and I'm honest with them. We're going to work on stepping off, platform closing, 8 and 8 drills for about 30 minutes this morning, because that's our biggest weakness on our halftime show right now.
Right. And the other stuff won't matter if we can't get this.
Correct. Man, you'd be a great band director colleague with me because we think alike, because it's
I'll be your hype man.
Yeah. Until we can figure out exactly that one fundamental, nothing else we do really counts to anyone besides Grandma Susie on the back row, who just understands this band's louder than the other band.
Right.
And that's great if that's how she evaluates bands, but we know better.
Right.
The kids know better. They know when they're not good.
And the press box knows better.
Yeah, the press box definitely knows better.
So, all right, man. I love this stuff. Thank you
Yeah.
for putting this together, and I hope everybody takes advantage of the handouts of the downloads that are available for this. It's why would you not download it?
Yeah.
And have it to reference. So, anyway, all right, brother. You have an awesome week,
You
and
too, my friend.
you keep spreading the gospel.
I will. Pissing off band directors, one band director at a time. My phone is blowing up.
I had us on a positive.
Sorry.
You bet. Piss them off. I'll do it.
That's right. It'd be my job.
See you next week.
All right. See you later.